For months now, there has been an abundance of misinformation around the coronavirus, its potential cures, and all of that. And not all of it is coming from Fox News. Some is coming from sources you might not have expected, including on social media. Influencers who don't generally traffic in this sort of material, spreading misinformation around the pandemic. Joining us now to break it down is HuffPost reporter Jesselyn Cook. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on. You had an awesome write-up of your research in this area, and you found a lot of influencers who might be considered mommy bloggers or fitness people or just lifestyle, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what were they saying about the pandemic?
Oh, all kinds of crazy stuff. That 5G can cause coronavirus, that vaccines are going to be used for mind control or to
Wow.
brainwash you. A lot of stuff relating to QAnon, which is a conspiracy movement in the US, and that the virus is a bioweapon. And in recent days, it's been really disturbing to see them spreading conspiracy theories about George Floyd.
Oh, so they've now moved into that area as well.
Yeah, some really gross stuff. Like they've been suggesting that he's a crisis actor and he faked his own death. It's really
Wow.
horrible and awful to even repeat it.
And so I assume some of these accounts have fairly significant followings on Instagram and Twitter and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of these women have been building up their following for years with pretty consistent, like fashion content, recipes, just kind of inside looks at their life as mothers, or some of them are yoga enthusiasts. And a lot of them now have well over 100,000 followers who trust them and look up to them.
And what I found fascinating about this was that it seemed like some of the influencers that you profiled have not like always been purveyors of conspiracies, that this seems to be sort of an awakening for some of them to these sorts of things, that all of a sudden QAnon starts to come in, they're sharing pandemic, they're talking about vaccines in ways that perhaps they hadn't. Do you have any idea from their posts why it is that suddenly they're moving in this direction?
From their posts, it does seem like they really do believe in the stuff they're saying, and it might just be a symptom of being too online. These
Yeah.
women spend their lives online. We know how easy it is to become radicalized by disinformation on social media and how social media algorithms can promote and reward that kind of content. But what's shocking to me is, a lot of these women make money from brand deals and want to have pretty PG content so that they can get these payouts. And by promoting this far right conspiratorial material, I imagine that would scare off a lot of brands. And they do seem to be presenting themselves as just standing up for what they believe in.
I mean, that is by far the most fascinating part of this, because we deal with and respond to grifters inside of political media all the time who make their money by spreading this stuff. Fake news websites and individuals with big followings where that's what their audience is. But this seems very different, that if people are following these women because they want like instructions on how to get a sourdough starter going or something like that, they must believe it, I suppose. I guess you would say you almost have to admire them, but no, because they're causing harm, of course. Is there any indication that you see either from comments responding to it or anything like that from the brands? Are they actually suffering a strike back, either financially from the people they rely on to give them brand deals, or from their followers? Is there any indication that people are dropping off because this isn't what they signed up for?
A few of the women seem to have lost followers in the past month or so. And, losing followers means they're going to be losing money. Brand deals they get, if they do continue to get them, may not be as lucrative. But the response has been really interesting, at least what the influencers have been willing to share. They've been posting screenshots of some DMs they've gotten from their followers. And a lot of people are understandably really confused and disturbed by the content they're putting out there. But it's also kind of startling how many people seem to say, I'm with you. I've been thinking this all along, and it's great to
Mm.
know you're part of this. And I think it kind of raises the question as to how widespread this kind of thinking is under the surface of things.
And there's a note in your article that it seems like some of them, there's an indication that they might be doing this for money. How is that presenting itself?
Yeah, there was one woman I saw who has partnered with a company that's selling a 5G protection tool, which is absurd. But she is getting money, I have to imagine, for promoting this tool, and it costs $899. And So I guess it just depends who you're willing to shill for.
Interesting. Do we have any idea of how exactly this protects you from 5G?
No, it does not say how it works. It just, no.
Oh, see, that's interesting because you implied that it was absurd. And look, it's expensive, but if that's what it takes to protect you from 5G, I guess that's what we're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume there's probably a hefty commission on each one of those. I really hope that no one has shelled out $900 for a thing that won't protect you from something that isn't harming you.
I hope so too.
And so I'm curious, do you have any idea if we come across influencers that are spreading this, what can we possibly do? I mean, I don't necessarily follow some of these mommy bloggers, but I follow, tech reviewers or people who, review board games or lifestyle of a different sort. If they start trafficking in this, what exactly should we do?
I mean, I guess it depends on the platform. They seem to tolerate misinformation. You can report a post as containing misinformation, and Instagram may choose not to promote it in its Explore feed, but they're not going to take it down. And YouTube and Facebook, it really varies. Facebook owns Instagram. It still varies from platform to platform. So you can report stuff if you see that it's false, but you can't really count on the platform to actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can choose to not follow people who are spreading false information. I mean, they depend on lots of eyes on their content. So
Yeah.
there's at least one thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure, look, for most people watching this, they might think, well, why should anything be done? It's your free speech rights to misinform people. And apparently that's what we've settled on as a society. But we should point out that the misinformation you're talking about is not purely like whether someone wastes $1,000 protecting themselves from digital waves or whatever. If they're telling people that these vaccines are going to mind control them or track them, and then they don't take it, as somewhere around a third to a half of Americans are indicating they might not eventually take a vaccine for coronavirus, that is going to continue to put at risk people who can't take the vaccine or can't be protected by a vaccine. And so this is potentially a life or death thing. And so, thank you for continuing to shed light on it. And I appreciate you joining us on the show to break this all down.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. Everyone, Jesselyn Cook, you can see her reporting over at HuffPost. Thank you. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.